This is IGN. Sony is reportedly considering pushing back the PS6 release. Welcome to your IGN Daily Update. But first, The Simpsons showrunner Matt Selman has said the series will never air a finale episode, even if it did one day end. Rather than a big farewell send-off, Selman said The Simpsons would simply air a regular episode, noting that the show had recently parodied the idea of a big finale in its 36th season premiere, an episode named Bart's Birthday that featured numerous returning guest stars and set up the finale of numerous other famous series. If the show ever did end, there's no finale. It would just be a regular episode that has the family in it, Selman told The Wrap, following the airing of its landmark 800th episode. Probably a little Easter egg here and there, but no, I'm going to miss this place. The Simpsons' 800th episode includes a crossover with The Pit, featuring various guest stars including Noah Wyle, plus Kevin Bacon and Boyz II Men. It also marks the occasion with a couch gag that finally pays off the fact that Homer gets hit by Marge's car at the beginning of every episode, since the series' opening credits were remade for HD. How long can The Simpsons continue on for? The show has currently been renewed until its 40th season, which means it'll remain on air through until at least 2029. A second Simpsons movie is also on the way, set to debut on September 3rd, 2027. And, controversial or not, Emerald Fennell's new adaptation of classic novel Wuthering Heights is hitting, heights at the box office for its opening weekend. A staggering $76 million globally. The film, which stars Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie in the iconic roles of Heathcliff and Kathy, managed to gross $34.8 million in the United States, which brings the worldwide total for the film's debut to $76.8 million. Interestingly enough, though, those numbers don't actually fall under the projections set for the film reported by Deadline. Warner Brothers expected the project to open to closer to 40 or 50 million domestically, but it still falls within their 70 to 80 million global projection. That said, the movie's opening weekend is technically a 4-day one, with yesterday, Monday, February 16th, being President's Day, so there's a chance that Wuthering Heights hit that initial domestic projection by the day's end. The competition is stacked right now at the box office, with two other new releases on offer alongside Wuthering Heights. The animated kids comedy Goat, which is holding on to the second spot domestically under Fennell's film, and Crime 101, a star-studded thriller that is also a literary adaptation, believe it or not, with a claim to the number 3 slot at the box office. There are several new and exciting titles coming in the next week, though, projects like Psycho Killer and How to Make a Killing. So those more recent additions might threaten a little of the profits of Wuthering Heights, but we won't know until we see what happens at the box office next weekend. The AI-fueled chip crisis has reportedly upended Sony and Nintendo's console plans and may cause a delay to the release of the PlayStation 6 and a price rise for the Switch 2. Memory is in high demand because companies like Nvidia and Google require so much of it for their AI chips, with a recent CNBC report pointing out that these companies are the first ones in line for the components. This will likely push up RAM prices and have a knock-on impact on both console retail prices and availability. As part of a sweeping Bloomberg report on the impact of the ongoing shortage of memory chips, its sources indicated two crucial points on PlayStation and Switch. The first is that Sony is now reportedly considering pushing back the debut of the PS6 to 2028, or even 2029, which it described would be a major upset to the company's plans. Meanwhile, Nintendo is reported to be considering raising the price of the Switch 2 this year. Neither company has issued a comment in response to the report. But would Nintendo actually go through with a Switch 2 price rise so soon after its launch? Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa recently addressed the possibility of a Switch 2 price rise caused by rising prices for components and the potential impact on profitability on the hardware, saying in vague terms that he didn't think there would be any impact anytime soon. We do not disclose details regarding individual components, but we can say that we are working to secure stable supplies of memory components by holding discussions from a long-term perspective with our business partners, Furukawa explained. As a result, the recent rise in memory prices did not have a significant impact on hardware profitability in the third quarter. In addition, we do not expect any significant impact in the fourth quarter. However, if this rise in component prices lasts longer than expected and runs through the next fiscal year and beyond, it may put pressure on profitability. If the situation deteriorates significantly, we will carefully assess market trends and respond. As for any future change in the price of Nintendo Switch 2 hardware, no decision has been made at this time. Any decision to change the price will be determined comprehensively, taking into consideration not only profitability, but also other factors like the platform's installed base, sales trends, and the market environment. Furukawa was then asked if Nintendo would consider selling the Switch 2 at a loss in a bid to expand the console's install base. The current rise in memory prices is happening at a pace that exceeds our expectations, he said. In general, the profitability of hardware tends to improve with economies of scale, and we want to continue to reduce costs as much as possible through mass production of Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. With regard to not selling hardware at a loss, what we are focusing on is profitability on a global basis. There are various external factors, such as fluctuations in exchange rates, but looking at the global picture, we have traditionally tried to avoid situations where individual units are sold at a loss as much as possible. Earlier this month, Sony waved away concern about potential further PlayStation 5 price rises as a result of the rising cost of memory, insisting it's already in a position to secure the minimum quantity necessary to manage the year-end selling season of its next fiscal year. Going forward, we intend to further negotiate with various suppliers to secure enough supply to meet the demand of our customers, Lin Tao, Sony's chief financial officer, said. Given the stage of our console cycle, our hardware sales strategy can be adjusted flexibly, and we intend to minimize the impact of the increased memory cost on this segment going forward by prioritizing monetization of the install base to date and striving to further expand our software and network service revenue. That's your IGN Daily Update. My name is Tony Jackson, and if you want more news on your favorite games and entertainment topics, make sure to visit us at IGN.com. You can also download our free app on your phone or console and subscribe to our weekly podcasts through the podcast service of your choice.
Spoken Layer.